So good day again, once again, good day, good night, good evening. It says given A is 3, 4, negative 2, 1, B is negative 5, 0, 3, 2, and C is negative 2, 3, 6, 7. To begin with, we're going to look at A, which is A squared BC, and then we're going to look at B, which is A squared CB. Okay? So, for the first one, A squared BC, I will see 3, 4, negative 2, 1 times 3, 4, negative 2, 1 times negative 5, 0, 3, 2 and negative 2, 3, 6, 7. So, just like in regular numbers, we're going to multiply these two and these two. This is a 2 by 2 matrix. This is a 2 by 2 matrix. So my answer for this will be 2 by 2. For the third one, this is a 2 by 2 by another 2 by 2. So again, my result will be a 2 by 2. So things are working out in our favor. Now starts the challenging part, the actual multiplication. So 3 times 3 plus 4 times negative 2. I will give the first element. Then 3 times 4 plus 4 times 1. That's going to give me my second element. Negative 2 times 3 plus 1 times negative 2. That's the third element. And negative 2 times 4 plus 1 times 1. That's my fourth element. So this here will give me A squared. Now I begin with BC. So negative 5 times negative 2 plus 0 times 6. That's the first element. Then the second element, negative 5 times 3 plus 0 times 7. That's the second element. Then 3 times negative 2 plus 2 times 6. That's the third element. Then 3 times 3 plus 2 times 7. That's the fourth element for BC. So we're doing both of them at the same time. So for this part, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 2 is negative 8. That will give us the first element for A squared. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 4 times 1 is 4. That's the second element of A squared. Then negative 2 times 6, no, sorry, negative 2 times 3, that's going to be negative 6. And 1, a positive times a negative, that's a negative. 1 times 2 is 2. That's the third element. Then negative 2 times 4, that's negative 8. Plus 1 times 1 is 1. That's the end of A squared. Then I start BC. Negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 0 times any number is 0. That gives me my first element of BC. Negative 5 times 3, that's going to be negative 15. Plus 0 times any number is 0. That's my second element. 3 times negative 2, that's negative 6. Plus 2 times 6 is 12. That's my third element. Then 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 2 times 7 is 14. And that will end BC. Note, we will use the first part in the next question. Alright, so We start. 9 minus 8 is 1. 12 plus 4 is 16. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. 1 minus 8 is negative 7. So that's a squared. Then, for the next part, 10 plus 0 is 10. Negative 15 plus 0 is just negative 15. 12 minus 6 is just 6. 9 plus 14 is 23. So here we have a squared, and here we have bc. We still have to multiply those, but I will just stop here for a minute and see if I lost anybody. So now we're going to multiply 1 times 10 plus 16 times 6. That will give me my first element for my final answer. Then 1 times negative 15 plus 16 times 23. That's going to be the second element there. Let me move it slightly so we can see it. Then negative 8 times 10 times 10 plus negative 7 times 6. That's the third element. Then negative 8 times negative 15 plus negative 7 times 23. And that's the fourth element. Obviously, that means that the numbers at the back there are going to be rather large. Okay? They'll be quite large. So, for my next step, 1 times 10 is obviously 10, plus 6 times 6 is 36, I carry the 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9, so I have 10 plus 96 as my first element components. Then 1 times negative 15 is negative 15, plus, here is where you will need rough work. So I'm going to put my rough work right here. So 23 times 16. 6 times 3, that's 18. 6 times 2 is 12, and 1 is 13. 1 times any number is itself, so that when I add it, I get 368. I'm going to add 368 here. Very, very, very large number. Then I continue to my next part. Negative 8 times 10, that's negative 80. Minus 7 times 6 is 42. That gives me my third element. Then the next one is 15 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8, and 4 is 12, which is give me 120. And it's positive because a negative times a negative is a positive. But a positive times a negative is a negative, so I know my next value will be negative. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 2 is 14, and 2 is 16. So minus 161. So when I finalize adding those, then that will be my answer. So 10 plus 96 is 106. 368 minus 15, so I say 8 minus 5 is 3. 6 minus 1 is 5, and I just bring down the 3. So 106 and 553 are the first two elements of my answer. Negative 80 minus 42, that's going to give me a negative 122. That's my third element. And then the last one, 161 minus 120, but I'm keeping it negative because the largest number is negative. That's going to be negative 41. So my final answer for the question A squared BC is 106, 353, negative 122, and minus 41.